now joined on stage by Arizona head coach Adia Barnes and student athlete Shaina Pellington and Helena Pueyo. Coach, if you'd like to start us off with an opening statement, then we'll open it up to questions.
Another exciting year of Pac-12 women's basketball. I think just excited to start, a lot of new players, and just a great turnout for the best media day in the country. So welcome, everybody, and thanks for having us.
All right, open it up for questions. Just a reminder to please state your name and affiliation. We are short a mic, so we're going to start on this side with Shireen in the front row.
Front row. Had a very fun last season watching you guys play. To the players, both of you have played on the international stage and the Olympics, World Cup. How do you feel that gives you an advantage playing in college?
I mean, for me personally, like playing overseas, I mean, you're playing alongside pros basically all the time, and you know they're very wise. They know the game very well. So I feel like every single time I go overseas to play or play with my national team, you know, I learn a lot about the game. I learn different aspects of the game that I was never open to before. So I think it helps me develop really well as a player, and also just as a person, you know. So
yeah, for me also personally, I think my national team helped me a lot with like all the basketball stuff, also like keep growing up as a player, and it's really fun to go back and like support my country and just like trying to do my best for them, and I think it's really fun to do it.
And Coach, Ari came back to play for you. How's that? Isn't it nice for the players to be able to have her around and mentor, and with the WNBA experience now and all that? That was fun to see.
Yeah, it was great to have her. It was sad that she didn't have any more eligibility, but she actually had one more year but didn't use it. You know, just wonderful. We had to kind of jump through some hoops, hiring her because she was affiliated with some of the players before, so there's all these compliance things. But once we were able to get it done, just incredible. My goal for her is to one day be a coach, someone I want to bring along, someone I really trust and love and care about, and I think that she can bring so much to our game. And there's one thing me talking about it at 45 years old, saying I played back in the day, you know, 25 years ago, and they're like, what? You know, so, but for them to learn from Ari and to see Ari do things every day and to listen to her advice, they're really listening. And then to watch her in the summer play, she's doing it. So I think there's a tremendous amount of value to that, and just the knowledge, and I think the mentoring she brings is good, and I think she's going to be a great coach one day. So just excited to have her, and I think one of the best decisions I made as coach.
Going to go to the front row on the left here, and Matthew.
Hi, Coach. Matthew Walter from The Next. Last year, at times, you guys really struggled scoring the ball. How do you improve on that, and how much did adding Esmeri and Jade and Lauren help with that? Because they're three Power 5 big-time scorers from their respective schools.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that. So I never look at it as struggling offensively. Our strength wasn't offense, but our strength was defense. So I think every team has a different identity. And ours, we didn't have those prolific scorers, but we had those awesome defenders. So I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, ideally, in a perfect situation, you're going to have great defenders, great offensive players. I think when you're becoming like a championship team, you have one or the other. I think now we have a really solid defensive system. We have players that can play on both ends of the floor. So I think the areas that we improved in this year is adding some players that can play our type of defense and that can score the ball really well. So I think with those three transfers, stretches the floor. It leaves Shaina a lot of lanes to create and Helena a lot of lanes to create, and you can't help off of. But hopefully we're able to maintain that same defense with improving the offense. And I think that's a challenge as a coach. You get this great offensive team, you a lot of times can't play defense. And you get this great athletic defensive team that can't score to save their lives. So you kind of work with what you have and make the best out of it. Otherwise, if you're doing great on both ends, you're probably winning multiple championships. So hopefully we'll get there.
We're going to go to Kevin over there on the right, and then Michelle back here on the left.
Kevin Dana, Pac-12 Networks. Coach, I just wonder if you could discuss a little bit about kind of what this Tucson community means to you. I know this was a few months ago, but you were the Grand Marshal in the Tucson Rodeo Parade. You got the Cameo page where fans could reach out to you and give them special messages. Obviously, this goes back to your playing days, but what does that community mean to you, and the support that you've gotten from that community for what you've done with the basketball team?
Yeah, so Arizona is an incredible college basketball town. We're not only a football town like a lot of other places, but we're a college basketball town. the fans have supported me since day one. But I think for me, what's special is we weren't good, so I wasn't inviting the whole city to games my first year. But to see 300 fans the first year to now to sell 6,000 season tickets, I think that's amazing. Obviously, you support teams that win, so that's been great. But let me tell you about the rodeo. I think I made my mark as the rodeo grand marshal. It was not the championship game. It was the rodeo grand marshal. I probably got more texts about being the rodeo grand marshal than winning like games we shouldn't have won. I'm serious. I was like, I knew it was a big deal in Tucson, but I didn't know it was like the deal. So like that's what made me popular in Tucson was the rodeo. And I had the boots, I had the hat, I had it all. But you know, it's like the biggest non-motorized parade in the country, or rodeo in the country. So the fans love that stuff. I think what sets our program apart is how we serve the community, and we go out and we do things in the community. We care and we give back, and I think that's what's made the fans come and watch us and support us. So they love what we're doing. I think they're excited about women's basketball, so it's awesome.
What were your duties as Grand Marshal?
Absolutely nothing but sit on a wagon and wave. And I didn't have the good wave. Actually, I think Joan was on the wagon with me and Rocky LaRose. Nothing. Just the wagon was like 150 years old, so it was like kind of bumpy. You guys have never been on like a wagon with like, you know, tires have rubber. Well, wagons don't have rubber because it was like 100 years ago, so they had like iron. So you just sat there and waved. And there was like 100,000 people. I'm like, who goes to rodeos? But I guess like everybody. So I have the boots, I had the hat, and I was like a true cowgirl. It was awesome.
Go in the front to Michelle and then Pat in the back right.
Michelle Smith, Pac-12.com. Adia, to have fifth-year seniors and as many as you do, what does that mean for your team this year? What does that allow you to do to have that much experience on the floor?
It means a lot. I mean, when you have, because you can't teach experience, right? So it's just to have that and to have players that have been to the championship game, I think that's really valuable because you don't know what you don't know. And having that experience, I think, takes us to the next level. And we have that in 3 of our seniors. And then to add someone like Jade Lavelle, who's been in different programs, she's really got really good late and adds a lot to our team. It's a lot of leadership, and now it's just mixing those pieces together and pulling along the young kids. And I think one of the people sometimes ask, like, what's the difference, like, of, you know, having some success now? And the difference is your freshmen are better. So you can recruit. Now you don't recruit the 100th ranked player, you recruit the 10th ranked player. And I think that you can see the difference. So the freshmen want to be great. They're in the gym. And when I got the job at Arizona, we weren't able to recruit those kind of kids. So now the Maya Najis, the Paris, the Lamaya Hilton, Kaylin Gilbert, they are like gym rats. They want to win a championship. So the level has risen. And a lot of it's, you know, they're following these young women. And they're aspiring to be great. So, yeah.
Go to Pat in the middle right.
Pat Rooney, Boulder Daily Camera. Coach, I think we all know the transfer portal is just kind of part of the equation now, but when you lose a young player like Aaronette Vonleh to a league rival, in this case, is that particularly tough at all?
No, not at all, because it's the way it is. It's like, so it's hard because as a coach, you got to recruit your players. You got to like recruit the next class. You're trying to be great. I think that I don't worry about that stuff. You just got to coach with what you have, and that's the way it is. I mean, basketball has changed. The players have changed. Like, Joan used to run, okay, don't be mad at Joan, but she used to run me to death when I was a player. You can't do that anymore. It's different. Transfer portal is different. Your players aren't happy. If your players aren't playing, you're going to lose somebody. That's kind of how it is. So I think as a coach, there were some decisions I made this year. I could have taken 2 other really good transfers. But I knew if I took those 2 transfers, our freshmen would probably not play because the transfers are going to be better. They're more experienced. They're better players. So I made the decision not to, but we probably would have been a better team. We would have probably won more games. But so I think there's a balance of like, do you want to be all transfers or do you want to bring young? And I prefer to get some great young talent, keep them, and like win with them, you know, big when they're juniors. But that's a hard balance because you invest in these freshmen, you recruit them from 8th grade, 9th grade, and then you invest, and then like they don't play their first year, they leave. So I think that's hard. It's hard because in a way you're like, okay, you invested all this time, you might as well get a transfer, you keep them for a year, and you win more, and they score 20 points a game. So the transfer portal is the way it is. I think we were the conference, we had 10 interconference transfers, which is a lot. If you look at the SEC, they have, this is thanks to Michelle, but they have 14 teams and they have 11. So we have the most percentage-wise. So is that good or bad? It is what it is, and I can't worry about that. I just got to coach the best players, and I want players that want to be at Arizona. And if you come to a top team and you're not playing your freshman year and you're not willing to put in the work and get better, then that's on you. And if you have to leave to go somewhere else, that's okay with me. I'm perfectly fine with that. And I will sign the papers and let you go. And I did that this year.
We're going to the front left with Alex and then Cindy on the right.
Alex Simon from the Bay Area News Group. Adia, when you guys look at your schedule, you have 2 big games at home on ESPN, and you guys have, for a while now, been able to do a really good job of getting McHale full for some big games when you have them late in the season. It was the WNIT run, obviously, now the regular season, the 2 NCAA games. How much does maybe having those games in a national spotlight sense, and you can kind of sell to the community that we're going to be nationally shown, we really want, how much does that make an impact for a program in your ascension that way?
Well, I think that, so I don't need to sell to Tucson. That's the great thing. Like Tucson kind of, they support us, so I don't have to sell that. I don't have to tweet as much. I still do. I don't have to auction off my husband to sell tickets. I did before. But now it's like, they're excited. We're winning. You know, unfortunately, it was really hard for me. We hosted last year. I really thought I had a great chance to win and lost against North Carolina. That was hard because we weren't expected to. Even, we don't lose a lot at home. Knock on wood. But I think that it matters. The fans want to come support. I don't have to sell. I think now it's just recognizing we can have these big marquee games. You know, we're going to be playing UConn in a couple of years with a home and home, Texas home and home. So they're exciting games, and I think we don't always have to go out of conference to get those. I think we can showcase those ESPN games, you know, the Oregon, the Stanford, so they can also get those in our conference, which is special. But we don't have to sell it. They want to come. I don't want to guarantee, but I'm pretty positive we're going to have sellouts. And how many venues in women's basketball can sell out arenas, can have 15,000 people? We're going to be one of them.
And to go off of that, when you look at the future, and obviously knowing that the conference is about to have a media rights deal where women's basketball is growing all across every TV platform you can look at, college, WNBA. I know even the FIBA World Cup got a ton of people watching at like midnight out here. To see that and know that those opportunities are there, is that something that you feel like the conference needs to take advantage of in that way?
Absolutely. So this can be our pitch now. They better take advantage of it because we're getting big time. They're going to lose out. Yeah, for sure. Our game is growing. It does matter. I think years ago, you see with soccer, you see with the tournament, it matters. If we had 18,000 people, I think we could sell at 18,000. Maybe not every game, but a few times a year. So you should invest in women's basketball. It can make you money, and I think that it's important. So I hope we get a great deal. I think we will. And I think our conference and our young women deserve it. I think that what's important to me is, even for recruiting for all of the coaches, we want our talent showcased. We don't want to be the stepsister on the West Coast. We don't want all the voters, everybody voting on the East Coast, because we have a great product on the West Coast, and we want to keep great players like we are now on the West Coast. So we deserve that. We should get it. And I mean, I think people would be crazy not to give us a big deal and showcase the Pac-12 nationally.
Cindy?
Cindy Brunson, Pac-12 Networks for the student athletes. Shaina, I'll start with you. I remember last season, you looked me dead in the eye and you said, reps removed doubt. And the look on your face was so cold. I got chills. I wrote it down and I saved it for today. What did you do over the summer to remove doubt?
I mean, for me personally, like, obviously I just identified my weaknesses, things that I wasn't great at the previous season and how I can improve on those things. So, like, for me, it was a lot of my outside the arc shooting. So that's something that I've invested a lot of time in developing to become more of a triple threat. You know, like, my strengths are getting to the rim. I personally feel like I can get to the rim against anybody in the country when I want to, and I know that. But to be able to, you know, force people to guard me now when I have the ball in my hands, that's just going to make me even more deadly, and it's going to help the overall success of my team. So I've invested a lot of time in that, and also becoming just a better leader. I'm not always the most vocal person on the floor, but, you know, there's many other ways that I'm starting to learn that I can be a better leader, whether that's by example or whether that's just anything off the court, you know, being more social, just different aspects of where I'm trying to be a better leader for my team, and so I can overall contribute to the overall success of this program.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Helena, for you, 3-level score from the day that you stepped into the gym at Tucson. What have you done over the summer to improve your game?
So me personally, over the summer, I just like trying to improve like also some of my weakness, like maybe my speed, like trying to go more to the basket, and I think the 3-on-3 really helped me a lot because it's a really fast game. So, and you never know what's going to happen, so you have to be ready always. And I think that kind of game really helped me a lot, like in that kind of things.
And did we get a measurement on your wingspan? I know it's gigantic. I would just love to put a number on it because you always get those deflections and tips. Coach,
Yeah.
that's your assignment. I need that number.
No, first thing I want to say is I think we all should give Helena Pueyo a round of applause because she's been amazing.
Yes.
Wait, one thing. She first came to Arizona, she only could say thank you. And she barely said it, but to now, no, I love it. To now have this moment, I'm watching her with media, talking, comfortable. You don't understand how much she's changed. So I think you guys should give her a round of applause. Thank you. She would have acted like she had COVID. We didn't have COVID back then, but she would have said, no, I have COVID, I can't go. I mean, but just to see after 4 years, so we talk about coaching, why we love coaching. It's for moments like this. You watch her and it's just awesome. I get like, oh, like my little mom moments for a second, but yeah, so anyways.
Last question to Joan right here on the right.
Okay, Joan Bonvicini, Pac-12 Networks. This is for the players. Both of you were very integral parts of the run to the championship game a couple of years ago. And I'm sure you learned a lot from that. And tell me how playing in that game and that season is going to help you this year.
I mean, for me personally, it helped me a lot. Obviously, playing at a very competitive stage on a and getting the national recognition that we got. I mean, it's helped develop me as a person and as a player a lot. Obviously, last season didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I also learned a lot from last season as well. And to have that experience, to know what it takes to get to that level and compete at the highest stage you could possibly play at for a college player, I feel like it's detrimental because a lot of coaches will ask us, like, you know what, like our goal is to get to a national championship game, but nobody really ever knows what that feels like. Nobody really knows what that might entail because sometimes our coaches haven't even been there before. So how do you know? You know what it might take to get there. So it's just like all of us as players, or some of us as players, and our coach being alongside us to experience that. I think that it was a really cool and a really good thing for us. So, yeah.
Helena?
Yeah.
Because you had some really important parts on that run.
Yeah, for me personally, I think that experience really helped me a lot. Like, I think, like, it was just my second year, so I was, like, kind of impressed because I never been, like, in a situation like that, so I was, like, very happy. I think it was an amazing, like, experience for me. But as Shaina said, I think we didn't do as good as we could have, but I think we hope, like, for a deep tournament run, like, in Pac-12 and also for the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I think we can bring like the experience to like try to this year to like go back there.
All right. Adia, Shaina, Helena, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck this season.